meeting of the Committee on National Defense of the Commission Appointments and third regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Mr. Secretary, kindly call the roll.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Committee on National Defense, Commission on Appointments. The Honorable Chairman, Representative Luis John A. Ferrer IV is present. The other officers and members of this committee are Alvarez Jr., Arbison,
Present.
De La Rosa, Go,
Present.
Jackson, Pimentel III,
Present.
Agas, Chipeco Jr., Noel,
Present.
Pangilinan, Po,
Present.
Ramirez Sato,
Present.
Recto, Revilla Jr.,
Present.
Villar,
Present.
Subiri, Zamora,
Present.
Almario, Villanueva, Pancho,
Present.
Drilon, Advincula,
Present.
Heron.
Present. Jesus naman.
With 3 members present in person, including the chair, and 13 members present online. We have a total of 18 members. The existence of a quorum is hereby declared. Majority Leader,
Mr. Chair, I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on September 8, 2021 and consider the same as approved.
is there any objection? Chair hears none. The reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on September 8, 2021 is dispensed with. The same is considered approved. Good morning, esteemed members of the Committee on National Defense of the Commission on Appointments, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, your committee will deliberate on the 35 ad interim appointments and 5 nominations of general, flag, and senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and will continue the deliberation on the nomination of Major General Bartolome Vicente Bacaro to the rank of Lieutenant General. Please stand up as your name is called. Bartolome Vicente O. Bacaro to the rank of Lieutenant General. Freddy E. Europa, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Francisco L. Molina Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Edgar Alan S. Villanueva to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Benjamin A. Dauon, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Omar V. Orozco, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Jesus Francisco M. Torbela, to the rank of Colonel, Corps of Professors. Larry Avelino P. de los Santos, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Manuel Leo Q. Gador, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Si Fernando A. Magbalot Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Wilfredo P. Amoma, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Leo E. Bongosha, to to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Edmond P. Abella to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Julius D. Pamitan to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Perpetual P. Tan Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Veterinary Corps. Ronald M. Virtuoso, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy, Marines. Tirso L. Chavez, to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Augusto V. Gaite, to the rank of Brigadier General. Glenn Loreto T. Caballero, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Elmer J. C. Anibigno, II, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Ramir J. Redosendo, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Ricnon U. Carolasan, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Roberto A. Breboneria, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Rene Tambago, to the rank of Colonel, Chaplain Service. Angelo Z. Lutera, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Rex Banjo Q. Bumanlag, rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Ferdinand B. Rondina, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Jose Ramer F. Mejio Sr., the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Jude Joseph A. Sumpay, the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Marlon Roy B. Roa, the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Adeluis S. Bordado, the rank of Vice Admiral. Inocencio I. Pasaporte, the rank of Brigadier General. Franklin F. Fabit, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Roberto I. Velasco, to the rank of Brigadier General. Alfonso D. Matias Jr., the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Ronald M. Iliana, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Roberto S. Capulong, to the rank of Major General. Peter Angelo L. Ramos, to the rank of Major General. Juan D. Ilagan, to the rank of Commodore. George Joel N. Dalakil, to the rank of Brigadier General. And Jose C. Faustino Jr., to the rank of General. Mr. Secretary, sir. Mr. Secretary, can you report on the jurisdiction requirements and other pertinent information relative to the 35 ad interim appointments and 5 nominations in compliance with the new rules of the Commission and the new rules of the standing committees?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors. The 35 ad interim appointments and 5 nominations dated June 4 and 22, July 15, August 9 and 12, and September 6, 2021, under consideration today by the committee, were received by the Commission on June 23, July 19, August 10 and 16, and September 7, 2021, respectively, and were forthwith referred by the Senate President and CA Chairperson Vicente C. Soto III to the Committee on National Defense pursuant to Section 16, Chapter 5 of the new rules of the Commission. The said ad interim appointments and nominations were published on various dates in 2 newspapers of general circulation and broadcast over PTB4 pursuant to Section 2, Article 2 of the new rules of the standing committees. The 40 appointees and nominees complied with the submission of the documentary requirements as provided in Section 24, Chapter 6 of the new rules of the Commission. Your CA Secretariat received letters from the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, J1, Major General Adriano S. Perez Jr., requesting the waiver of personal appearances of the following general, flag, and senior officers, namely, 1. Vice Admiral Adeluis S. Bordado, who is on official travel abroad in Newport, Rhode Island, USA, from September 13 to 18, 2021, to attend the 24th International Sea Power Symposium, ISS. Brigadier General Roberto S. Capulong, who is undergoing mandatory quarantine after arrival to the country from Ankara, Turkey, on September 11, 2021. Colonel Roberto A. Breboneria, Captain Juan D. Ilagan, and Colonel Ferdinand B. Rondina, who were all tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. Brigadier General Capulong, Colonel Breboneria, Captain Ilagan, and Colonel Rondina will be appearing online in today's hearing. Vice Admiral Bordado, however, will not be able to appear online due to the considerable distance between the nearest Philippine embassy or consular office and the symposium venue. No opposition was filed against any of the following appointees and nominees. That is all, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors.
Thank you very much po, Mr. Secretary. Majority Leader. Congressman Pancho. Kindly. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that the letters requesting for the waiver of the personal appearances of the above-mentioned general, flag, and senior officers be approved.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is hereby approved. Secretary, please administer the oath to the 40 appointees and nominees, including those who are present online.
Kindly all stand, including those online, and raise your right hand. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God? Mr. Chairman, they are now all under oath.
Thank you po. May we now call on Lieutenant General Jose C. Faustino Jr., nominated to the rank of General, the most senior among the officers now under consideration, and the new Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Sir, can we take our seat, sir? You may now give your opening statement, sir, if you have any.
Yes, sir. Good morning to the honorable members of this commission. If I may be allowed, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, I am Lieutenant General Jose C. Faustino Jr., current Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. We, the members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, having been appointed by the President, have to be acknowledged and have to be confirmed by the people. The honorable members of this commission are the representative of the people, and this process further strengthened the supremacy. The civilian authority is supreme over military authority, over the military, and it is our constitutional duty to be confirmed, to appear, or to go through this process and be confirmed. Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Thank you very much, General. The floor is now open. Any member wish to manifest or a question our appointee and nominees?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead po, Senator Lacson.
a very few questions.
Yes.
This is in relation to the case of Major General Bacaro and At first, I thought I should ask him, but it could be self-serving, So I'll ask the chief of staff. Yes, sir. Kasi kailangan mag-brush up ako doon sa military tactics and AFPR, Medyo defective na yung institutional memory, so to speak. Now, as far as the principle of chain of command, what is the link between the CCAFP, the Cadet Corps, Armed Forces of the Philippines, and the PMA Tactics Group? Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, Your Honor. Thank you, sir. The Philippine Military Academy is divided into three groups, sir. We have the support group, the headquarters academic group. You have the headquarters tactics group and the headquarters support group. The tactics group has direct control over the day-to-day activities of the PMA cadets. As differentiated, really, pagkakaiba niya, sir, sa academic group, which is really in charge of the academics, and so on with the support group that take care of the support systems of the academy. So dito po sa tactics group, sir, we have here the commandant of cadets as the head, and as far as the chain of command is concerned, he has the direct control of all the activities of the cadets when it comes to matters of discipline, training, and kasama na, sir, dun yung administrative matters, sir. The CCAFP, I understand, has its own chain of command, di ba? Yes, sir. The regimental Council of Commanders, Your
Brigade
Honor. Yes, sir. Down the line. Yes, sir.
So ano yung link between the tactics group, particularly the commandant of cadets, and the CCAFP?
The link, sir, is
I'll be more specific, Merong hazing na nangyari.
Yes, sir.
Sabihin natin, namatay yung na-haze na plebo. Ano yung, as far as the AFP chain of command, the principle of chain of command, ano yung responsibility ng commandant of cadets? Or, baba tayo ng konti, yung tactical officer in charge of the company where the plebe or the upperclassman involved in the hazing belong?
Sir, I think the responsibility of the concerned tactical officers who are directly supervising the activities in the companies is more on since ang trabaho niya, sir, is supervision as the company tactical officer. What we're looking at is the actions, sir, ng tactical officers right after the incident happened.
Correct. Did he
Tinolerate ba niya to, sir, or
Yes.
tinago niya ba sa sir, or
Did he take
inimbestigahan?
appropriate action immediately after the incident occurred?
Yes, sir.
If he did not take any action, in spite of the knowledge of such incident, then he could be liable under the principle of chain of command.
Exactly, sir.
But if he took action, or even, for example, the tactical officer directly in charge of the company where the cadets involved belong, as long as he took action immediately, he could not be held liable under the principle of chain of command.
Exactly, sir.
Yes, because I understand during our time, meron din nangyaring ganyan. I cannot recall the tactical officer or officers involved being held liable. In fact, even the regimental commander at the time was not even held liable under the principle of command responsibility or yung sa chain of command because proper action was taken.
Yes, sir.
Di ba?
Opo,
Ni-report, and then the cadets or the upperclassmen involved were meted out the appropriate penalties. No? At the time, of course, wala pa namang anti-hazing law.
Yes, sir.
As amended. So dismissal from the service, di ba? Immediately. But the tactical officer or officers, the commandant of cadets, and even the PMA superintendent, they stayed on.
Yes, sir.
The only time that the PMA superintendent was sacked, so to speak, was when we were first class men, first class cadets. I think this was in December of 1970, when the PMA armory
Yes.
was raided and ransacked by then Lieutenant Corpus. And it was the president, I will not mention the name of the PMA superintendent anymore for obvious reason, but it was the president himself, President Marcos, who told or informed the PMA superintendent, General, your armory was raided, and he did not know. So right away, he was, I think, relieved of his duties as PMA superintendent, and I don't know what investigation was conducted and the results thereof. But in this case, and as I mentioned earlier, this is in relation to the case of Jal Bacaro. Ano yung possible responsibility or accountability niya in this instant case?
Sir, sa case ni General Bacaro as the Commandant of Cadets, I think ginawa niya sa kaso. Agad sir dinetain yun or
Placed under technical arrest.
yes sir, place under
Even detained,
technical.
di ba?
Yes sir,
Dahil
legit po yun sir.
iba na yung situation, meron ng criminal case involved because during our time, I don't know about your time. Your time, wala namang anti-hazing law.
Wala po.
So administrative punishment, and if the relatives or the families of the or the family of the victim would so desire, pwede sila mag-file ng criminal case, no? But hindi ganun nangyari. In this case, of course, merong anti-hazing law
Yes sir.
na capital offense pa nga. Aside from resigning from their positions at the time, no, si General Ronnie, no, Evangelista,
Yes sir.
and General Bacaro, they immediately resigned as Commandant of Cadets and PMA Superintendent. But they took action before they resigned. No?
Yes sir. That's right. Sir.
So I just want to be clarified, no,
Yes sir.
on the principle of chain of command
Yes sir.
and command responsibility. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you sir.
Thank you very much po, Senator Lacson. Sir, badagdag ko lang po. Meron pong naparusahan sa PMA yung abusive, parang, ano ba? Yung sa hazing o nakasuhan tapos dire-diretso na nakulong, nakadete.
Yes sir, marami
Meron
na po sir. Your Honor. Your Honor,
Mr.
marami
Chairman,
na po.
if I may,
Okay po.
I don't know if this is accurate information, but I believe the cadets involved are still under incarceration, di ba? They're still detained because no bail yung offense. And they're being ano bang status ng kaso? May trial or still under preliminary investigation? But they have been issued warrants of arrest, di ba? How many cadets were involved and are detained right now?
Yes sir, I'll just check sir with.
Never mind, that's minor information.
Yes sir, but the case is ongoing sir.
Yes.
Hindi pa
Thank
po
you.
nakakalaya yung mga.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, General Postina.
Yun lang po. Salamat po. Another member wish to manifest their support or question? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no other members who will ask questions,
Yes.
then I move to recommend to the plenary the confirmation of all the officers present here this morning. So I so move, Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion by Senator Lacson. to
Second,
recommend
Mr.
to the
Chairman.
plenary the confirmation, all the appointees and nominees, and duly seconded. No objection. Chair is none. Motion is approved. Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations po. Thank you, General. Majority Leader,
Chair, may we now proceed to continue the deliberation on the nomination of Major General Bartolome Vicente O. Bacaro to the rank of Lieutenant General. I so move, Mr. Chair.
okay, is there an objection? Chair hears none. Committee will now continue to deliberate on the nomination of Major General Bacaro. May call on General Bacaro. Major General Bacaro. The seat in front. Sir, I'd just like to remind you that you are still under the same oath. Majority Leader, please report on the parliamentary status of the deliberation on the nomination of Major General Bartolome Vicente Bacaro to the rank of Lieutenant General.
Mr. Chair, last Wednesday, September 8, 2021, this committee deliberated on the nomination of Major General Bartolome Vicente O. Bacaro to the rank of Lieutenant General, including the sworn oppositions filed against him. Oppositors Mr. Dexter D. Dormitorio and Ms. Gerarda Villa expounded on their respective oppositions. During the deliberation, Senators Aquilino Coco Pimentel III and Juan Miguel Zubiri interpellated Major General Bacaro surrounding the issues and the basis of the opposition. However, for lack of material time and upon motion of Majority Floor Leader Representative Joel Almario, without any objection from the members, the committee deferred the deliberation on the nomination of Major General Bacaro until today. That is all for the parliamentary status, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Majority Leader. The floor is now open for further inquiries on the nominee, if there's any. There being none, Majority Leader. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that the committee recommends to the plenary for the commission to give its consent to the nomination of Major General Bartolome Vicente O. Bacaro to the rank of Lieutenant General. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Is there an objection? Chair hears none. Motion is hereby approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, there being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn the meeting.
On motion of the Majority Leader, there being no objection, meeting is hereby adjourned.
The fourth plenary session of the Commission on Appointments in the third regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Let us all pause for a minute.
After kay kong buhain ko, sir. Okay.
Thank you. Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiging dalas ng silanganan, alam na puso, sa tipo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tulad ka ng magiging, sa manlulumin, di ka pasisingil, sa lagat at putok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May dilagang tula at aming sa paglayang minamahal, ang islap ng wataman mo'y tagumpay na nagtinilig. Ang bituin ng araw niyang kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya na at may mag-aapi at mamatay lang dahil sa'yo.
The Secretary will please call the roll.
The honorable members of the Commission on Appointments. Advincula,
Present.
Mario, Alvarez Jr., Arbison,
Present.
Cagas, Peco Jr.,
Present.
De La Rosa, Drilon, Ferrer de Forth, Heron,
Present.
Go,
Present po, present.
Lacson, Noel,
Present.
Pancho,
Present.
Pangilinan, Pimentel III, Po,
Present.
Ramirez Sato,
Present.
Recto,
Present.
Revilla Jr., Villanueva,
Present.
Present.
Villar,
Present.
Zamora,
Present.
Subiri.
Present.
The chairperson is present.
With 3 members physically present and 18 online, total of 21, the chair declares the existence of a quorum. Majority Leader?
Mr. Chair, I move to dispense with the reading of the journal of the plenary session held on September 8, 2021, and consider the same as approved.
All right, any objection? Chair hears none. The journal is approved. Majority Leader?
Mr. Chair, may we now proceed to consider the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense on the nominations and ad interim appointments of 41 general and senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. So I move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, the consideration of the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense is in order. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that the chairperson of the Committee on National Defense, Representative Luis John A. Ferrer IV, be recognized.
Representative Luis John Ferrer IV is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, distinguished members of the Commission Appointments, this representation as chairman of the Committee on National Defense presided over a public hearing this morning to deliberate on the ad interim appointments and nominations of 41 general, flag, and senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Your committee, after deliberating on the qualifications and fitness during the public hearing, determined that they are all fit and qualified to be promoted to the ranks where they are appointed and nominated, and therefore ruled to recommend to the plenary for the commission to give its consent to the nomination and to confirm the ad interim appointments of 41 general, flag, and senior officers in the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Chairman, it is my honor and privilege to recommend that the Commission gives its consent to the nomination of Jose C. Faustino Jr., the 56th Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the rank of General. This native of Itogon, Benguet has dedicated his life to a deep sense of purpose. He is a product of the Philippine Military Academy class of 1988 and undoubtedly a seasoned military commander. He rose from the ranks and assumed significant field and staff positions, providing him an extensive experience in the military's peace and security programs, not only in Mindanao, but in the whole country. These likewise earned him many awards and medals. Prior to his appointment as the Chief of Staff, he has been designated as the first ever commander of the Joint Task Force Mindanao and spearheaded the development of the Mindanao Security and Stability Plan to harmonize the peace efforts of both Eastern and Western Mindanao commands. As a current AFP Chief of Staff, he is credited for his efforts to establish a Center for Self-Reliant Defense Posture and the Center for Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism. His vast experience from his many years of service for the country rightfully entitles him to this post in leading the AFP to accomplish its mission to achieve a lasting peace and development in the country. Mr. Chairman, my dear distinguished colleagues, it is my honor to move for the Commission to give its consent to the nomination of Jose Faustino Jr., the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, to the rank of General. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Adelius S. Bordado to the rank of Vice Admiral. So move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Approved.
Bartolome Vicente O. Bacaro to the rank of Lieutenant General.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Approved.
Peter Angelo A. L. Ramos to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Robert S. Capulong to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Augusto V. Gaite to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Robert I. Velasco to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Inocencio I. Pasaporte to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
George Joel N. Dalakil to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Juan D. Ilagan to the rank of Commodore.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Angelo Z. Lutera to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Omar V. Orozco to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Alaric Avelino P. De Los Santos to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Manuel Leo Q. Gador, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Rex Banho Q. Bumanglag, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Francisco L. Molina Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Alfonso D. Matias Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Fernando A. Magbalot Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ferdinand B. Rondina, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ronald M. Iliana, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Glenn Loreto T. Caballero, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Elmer J. C. Anibigno II, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Wilfredo P. Amoma, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ramir J. Redosendo, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Edgar Alan S. Villanueva, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Leo E. Bongosha, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Franklin F. Fabic, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Benjamin A. Dauon, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Edmond P. Abella, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Julius D. Pamitan, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ricnon U. Carolasan, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Freddy E. Europa, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jose Ramer F. Mejio Sr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Robert A. Breboneria, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jude Joseph A. Sumpay, to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ronald M. Virtuoso, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy Marines.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Tirso L. Chavez, to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Marlon Roy B. Roa, to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jesus Francisco M. Torbella, to the rank of Colonel, or Professors.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Perpetuo P. Tan Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Veterinary Corps.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And Rene E. Tambago, to the rank of Colonel, Chaplain Service.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
That is all, Mr. Chair. Salamat po.
Thank you, Representative Ferrer. Majority Leader?
Yes,
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Pimentel?
because you might adjourn, can my presence be recorded?
Recorded. Yes. The presence of Senator Aquilino Pimentel, Coco Pimentel, is recorded.
Same here, Mr. President. This is Senator Bong Revilla.
Senator Bong Revilla, yes.
Chairman,
Recorded.
can I
Yes,
second the
Majority.
motion?
What is the motion? Who is
Ah.
this?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Bongo.
Senator Bong. Senator Bongo.
To second the motion.
There is no motion yet. What is your pleasure?
I'll just give my manifestation after the chairman.
You're seconding the motion of the chairman for the approval of the,
Yes, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman.
may we know the manifestation? Go ahead, please, because we have already approved them.
Para sa lahat na po ito, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion for the Commission to give its consent to the nominations and confirm the ad interim appointments of general and senior military officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines before us this morning for their outstanding contributions and untiring service to the Filipino nation. Let me make off record my full support to Colonel Ronald Iliana na nagsilbi pong bilang Assistant Chief Plans Policy Division, Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, OJ3 sa Camp Aguinaldo at ngayon po student officer po ng MNSA, National Defense College of the Philippines. Kay Navy Captain Marlon Roy Roa, kasalukuyang commanding officer po ng Naval Installation and Facilities, Eastern Mindanao. Mute lang po. Kay Brigadier General Inocencio Pasaporte na ngayon po ay Brigade Commander ng 303rd Infantry Brigade, 3rd Infantry Division, Philippine Army, dyan po sa Negros Occidental. And of course, kay Vice Admiral Adelius Bordado, POIC, Flag Officer in Command, Philippine Navy, as well as Major General Roberto Capulong, kasalukuyang Chief of Staff ng Philippine Army, kay Brigadier General George Joel Lalakil na nagsilbi bilang Deputy Commander po ng Task Force Davao at ngayon po ay Commander po ng General Headquarters and Headquarters Service Command, AFP. At kay Lieutenant General Bartolome Vicente Bacaro na kasalukuyang Commander po ng Southern Luzon Command at also recipient po ng Medal of Valor in 1991 as Commanding Officer po ng 6th CAFCO Active Auxiliary Company, 21st Infantry Battalion, 5th Infantry Division. At syempre po, buong suporta kay General Jose Faustino Jr. na naging commander po ng East Mincom at kasalukuyan po ating Chief of Staff po ng AFP. Further, I would like to extend my full support for Colonel Freddy Europa, Colonel Francisco Molina Jr., Colonel Edgar Alan Villanueva, Colonel Benjamin Daon, Colonel Omar Orozco, Colonel Jesus Francisco Torbella, Colonel Alaric Avelino de los Santos, Colonel Manuel Leo Galador, Colonel Cise Nando Magbalot Jr., Colonel Wilfredo Amoma, Colonel Leo Bongosia, Colonel Edmond Abella, Colonel Julius Pamitan, Colonel Perpetuo Tan Jr., Colonel Ronald Vertodaso, Navy Captain Tirso Chavez, Brigadier General Augusto Gaite, Colonel Glenn Caballero, Colonel Elmer Ani Bigno II, Colonel Ramir Rodosendo, Colonel Ricnon Carol Lasan, Colonel Roberto Breboneria, Colonel Rene Tambago, Colonel Angelo Lutera, Colonel Rex Bumalnag, Colonel Ferdinand Rondina, Colonel Jose Ramer Mejio Jr., Navy Captain Jude Sumpay, Colonel Franklin Fabic, Brigadier General Robert Velasco, Colonel Alfonso Matias Jr., and lastly, I express my support for the nominations of Major General Peter Angelo Ramos and Commodore Juan Ilagan. With that, once again, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for your unwavering service to the Filipino nation and our people. Lalo-lalo na po ngayon sa panahon ng pandemya na ituturing rin po kayong mga frontliners. Maraming salamat po sa inyong serbisyo sa ating bayan at sa ating mga kababayan. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, there being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn.
Any objection? Chair is none. The session is adjourned.